What's a non-sexual moment equivalent of an orgasm? When you're dying of thirst and find the perfect water fountain, and that water hits your throat like nothing else. Surprised water when you're thirsty wasn't the top comment. Actually had to scroll a bit. Water when you have a hangover. Especially when you wake up in the middle of the night with basically pain because of thirst and you get the full glass of water. Ah. When that kink you've had in your neck or back for days finally pops. Or when you crack your knuckles and each one pops at the same time. Edit. Why did this get 7k upvotes? Almost every night when I go to bed, lying there I breathe in my air-filled lungs on my ribcage, cracking my sternum like a knuckle in the absolute most pleasant way you could imagine. Puts me to sleep every time. I get that about every 10 seconds, and my parents hate me for it. No, it's the rampant masturbation and animes you leave around the house. How do you leave rampant masturbation around the house? When you can finally breathe out of both nostrils after a cold. Edit, didn't say at the same time. Or when you still have a cold and you blow your nose and suddenly a massive load of gunk comes out of fuck knows where. Get the long booger. When it feels like you've pulled out part of your brain in the process. Oh god, that's the best feeling. Happens as well when you pull out a coagulated blood booger after a nosebleed. That's when you're sure you pulled out part of your brain. As someone with extremely bad asthma, being unable to breathe in general, and allergies to everything in the summer in my early childhood, plus nose complications from my birth and being sickly as a baby toddler, breathing out of both nostrils didn't happen for probably 12-13 years of my life from early childhood up into my mid-teens. When I grew older and my asthma allergic reactions lessened, this was probably the most pleasurable thing I ever experienced. Taking in a deep, double nostril breath was fucking incredible and felt life-altering. Looking back on it's crazy. Edit. It's kinda crazy and unfortunate how many people can relate to this haha. To all the people who are still clogging up or gaining symptoms as you get older, have faith and I'm pulling for you. Sometimes the simple things like just breathing like a normal person really are the most satisfying. When your ears finally pop and your head clears after they have been backed up for a long time. I didn't think of this, but 100% yes. I've had a good amount of ear surgery, so with the scar tissue, my ears are not great at popping. Was flying for the first time in a while and didn't prepare for popping them, so for like an hour my ears are in excruciating pain, like the worst I've ever experienced, more so than dental surgery. Anyway, I'm starting to freak out quietly, thinking my ears are gonna be fucked and that I might need to ask the attendant for help, which would embarrass me on top of everything. I've tried everything suggested to get them to pop, even the multiple ways to pop your ears. Finally, I hear a slow fart noise inside of my head, and it was like the best feeling I've ever had. Instant relief like a good fart, but a million times better. Now I pop my ears early and keep going it to ease it. Haven't had any issues since. One time at the beach my ears has been backed up for I'm not sure how long since I've been in the water for some time. As we were walking back to the resort, it suddenly popped and there was warm water drizzling out from my ears, and I honestly think my life has peaked since. Ah yes, and ear ejaculation. Feel great on the cochlea. Warm and clean beddings. Clean sheets, yes. Doesn't have to be warm for me, but as soon as you climb into the bed, love clean sheets nights. When you get a haircut and I guess it's a razor on the back of your neck. Dude, that does feel good. Taking off your shoes and socks after a whole day of walking. Taking off your ski boots after a whole day of skiing. Yes, and taking your first steps in comfy shoes. They always feel like mochas. I sit all day at work and this is still such an amazing moment. Girl version, taking off your bra after a long day at work, lol. Taking off your bra when you get in the car at midnight because you had to work super late and you've been wearing it since 6:30 am. When your code runs correctly the first time. Haha, I don't trust it unless it breaks first. I know it's broken somewhere, but now that I can see it, it has that upper hand. Going toilet after having to hold it in for a long time. That takes the piss. But seriously, I agree. I once managed to beat a urinal and was pissing for an incredible amount of time. My friend finished his piss, washed and dried his hands and had to stand outside and wait a few minutes. I know that feeling all too well. I remember when Iron Man first released, I went to see it in cinemas and I drank a vast quantity of liquids and was bursting to go for a piss for like 2/3 of the film. As soon as the credits appeared, I ran to the toilets and unleashed an ungodly amount of piss. 11 of 10 best feeling of relief ever. I had a liter of coke at the start of Return of the King. I think my eyeballs were yellow by the time the credits finally rolled. Waking up in the middle of the night, thinking you have to get up for school or work, only to find out you have like 4 more hours left to sleep. Better yet, remembering that you have the day off. Damn, I miss those days. Doesn't work for me. I never get back to sleep. I just stay there thinking about the day to come, or worse, how I fucked up the day before, and how tired you're going to be all day now. That feeling right before you fall asleep gets me every time. Wait, there's feeling before you fall asleep? For me at least sometimes there's this weird feeling where some random pictures are floating in front of my eyes and it feels like I'm on some kind of drugs. Basically like a short transition period between real world and dream world. What? People remember falling asleep? Not once in my life have I recalled the moments before falling asleep. The last memory I have of the night before is always one where I'm still 100% conscious. I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't ever know that was a thing. I just think about random things and then, without realizing, I get into the nothingness. Then I start dreaming and then I wake up. That's weird. Does anyone else hear music but louder at this exact point? Always tells me I'm about to drop off when I hear music in my head, but a little louder than I would through the day. Google exploding head syndrome. I have it, and when I hear a noise, change it often, I smile. As I know about 10 seconds later I'll be sleeping. I find it kinda comforting. I thought exploding head syndromes was a sudden noise that happens just as you are nodding off, except it's very intense and frightens you awake. Cause that's what happens to me on occasion. Edit. Okay, I looked it up and it can be both. Rubbing your eyes when they itch. I call it eye sorbation. To the point you see stars. That's quite nice. Hey, stop playing with your balls. Never. Finally figuring out a really tough problem. At my work it really pissed me off when I can't trace the root of a problem. It happens every now and then where some stuff in the database just goes wrong for the seems like no reason. Usually some really dumb minor reason. One time because someone accidentally added a spacebar behind a tag. That feeling when I finally solve it and can lean back on my chair and not worry anymore is pure bliss. Thank you for watching. Text in the comments what you think about it. And thank you for subscribing. See you next video.